Single mom's heartwarming act saves injured man unexpectedly revealed as her billionaire boss. Sarah raced through the crisp autumn air, juggling errands and the weight of 2 demanding jobs. Leaves crunched underfoot, vividly painting the ground in shades of orange, red, and gold. The clock was ticking, and she had only snippets of time between her day as a cashier and her late-night shift at the diner. Behind her, 8-year-old Jake skipped, his laughter a buoyant melody that kept her spirits high. With her heart full yet heavy, she encouraged him to pick up the pace as they neared the local market, her hands wrapped tightly around a list that felt as daunting as her responsibilities. Then it happened, a horrifying screech of tires that sliced through the afternoon calm like a knife. Sarah's heart dropped as she spun around to witness chaos erupting just a block away. A sickening crash stole her breath. Without a thought, she took off. She had to help. When she reached the scene, her pulse thundered in her ears. A man lay sprawled in the street, his face ghastly and pale. Panic surged through her veins. She was reminded of her nursing classes, knowledge spilling back into her mind like a gentle tide. Instinct kicked in as she knelt beside him, checking for a pulse. "Stay with me," she urged, her voice steady despite the storm inside. Jake's concerned eyes watched from a distance, fear slowly turning into admiration as she sprang into action. The crowd formed around her, murmurs rippling like a wave. As Sarah stabilized the wounded man, she focused entirely on him, ignoring the anxiety that threatened to creep in. She felt his weak pulse and knew she had to keep him conscious. "You're going to be okay," she whispered, tears stinging her eyes. She could feel the warmth of determination and compassion rising within her, a flame against the chaos. As sirens wailed in the distance, she heard whispers in the crowd, names and scandalous facts. "It's Tom the billionaire." Murmurs echoed, rippling through the onlookers. Recognition flashed in her mind, the quiet, cold presence at her workplace, a man shrouded in mystery and wealth, suddenly brought down to earth. Before they could whisk him away in the ambulance, Tom's eyes met hers, conveying pure gratitude that pierced through the chaos. It felt surreal, as if the universe was conspiring to redefine her world in an instant. Sarah's act of bravery sent shockwaves through the community. Soon, conversations sparked fiery debates reminiscent of the latest headlines. Was Tom truly a product of the American dream? Or just another wealthy elite with indifferent ways? Days later, a message came from the enigmatic billionaire. He wanted to meet to thank her properly. When she walked into that flashily opulent office, uncertainty gnawed at her insides. This was more than a mere thank you, this was a line drawn in the sand between her hard-earned existence and this gilded world. But what would it mean for Jake? Could she embrace an opportunity that might lift them from the hardships they've known, or would it cost her the very values she had lived by? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. As she heard Tom's story, a childhood rich in struggle, echoing her own, she found herself reassessing everything. Yet, whispers of the community's skepticism served as an anchor, pulling her back to her roots and everything she held dear. With each step deeper into this complicated relationship, Sarah began to question, could true worth transcend judgments? The answers loomed ahead, just out of reach, leaving her heart and mind dancing in turmoil. The grand office felt cavernous as Sarah stepped inside, her breath caught in her throat. The walls were adorned with whimsical art, pieces that seemed to whisper stories of privilege and opulence. Yet her focus was solely on Tom, who sat behind an enormous desk, a look of sincere appreciation lighting up his features. "Sarah, thank you for coming," he said, his voice deep and soothing. She could see the remnants of pain in his eyes, shadows of what must have been a terrifying experience. She nodded, swallowing hard, aware of both the warmth and the barrier between them. I had to help, she murmured, looking down as her fingers played nervously with her purse strap. Tom leaned forward, sincerity amplifying his quiet confidence. You saved my life. I'm not sure how I can ever repay you. His words wrapped around her like a familiar quilt, the warmth felt nice but also burdensome. No favors came without strings, and she was uncertain how to navigate this newfound connection. I didn't save you for anything in return. He smiled, but his gaze lingered, searching. I admire your spirit. You didn't flinch when danger struck. Not everyone has that kind of heart. An awkward silence fell between them, thickening the air. Jake's innocent laughter echoed in her mind. Sarah couldn't help but wonder how her son would fit into this puzzle. My son, he saw me. I wish he didn't have to be exposed to all this, she finally said, her voice barely a whisper. Tom's expression softened. You're doing the best you can, Sarah. Raising a child alone takes extraordinary strength. With every compliment, she felt the rift widening between their worlds. Beautiful designed offices proclaimed extravagance, while her home was filled with balance sheets and bedtime stories. A mother's love full of sacrifice, shadowed by the lean times. I really need to get back to work, she said, feeling the weight of her responsibilities looming large. Before you go, can I offer you something? He asked, shifting slightly in his chair. I appreciate it, but please, hear me out. I'd like to support you and Jake. I could set up a scholarship fund for his education. He deserves the best opportunities. His offer sent a jolt through her. On one hand, it was incredibly generous, an escape route from years of financial hardship. On the other, it felt like accepting a lifeline from someone living in a different universe. Tom, she hesitated. What's the catch? Absolutely none. I want to help, plain and simple. The warmth in his tone was genuine, yet that same sincerity sent a wave of anxiety crashing over her. Could she really accept help? Would it change who she was? Could she still protect her son's innocence in a world where values often crumbled beneath ambition and wealth? Each question seemed heavier than the last, filling the air with a tension that felt palpable. Just think about it, he said, his gaze steady. As Sarah left the office, fears spiraled in her mind like autumn leaves in a gust. She had choices to make now, paths that could either offer comfort or uproot everything she had fought for. Days turned into weeks, each moment a tug-of-war between pride and survival. Then, one evening after work, Jake's excitement filled their small kitchen. Mom, I heard someone at school talking about the billionaire who got saved by a superhero mom. That's you. His wide eyes sparkled with pride, but beneath it, she felt an echo of insecurity's pulse within her. Was she a superhero? Or was she a woman unsure of how to step beyond her circle? And it was then, in the comfort of their shared laughter, she realized it would take more than just dreams to bridge this divide. Would she risk her values for a chance at something better? Each heartbeat seemed to usher in a choice, one that might change everything. Tom was waiting, and more decisions loomed ahead. Could she summon the courage to rewrite her story? The morning sun poured through the kitchen window, scattering golden light across the table where Jake was busy building something extraordinary out of his Legos. She watched him, feeling a swell of pride mixed with a tingle of anxiety. Each piece he snapped together felt like a reflection of her own life, some days chaotic and unpredictable, others sturdy and bright. Mom, can we get pizza tonight? Jake asked, his eyes lighting up. He loved pizza nights. It was a simple request, one that often came wrapped in a veil of hope that had nothing to do with the food itself. It represented time together, a slice of joy amidst the struggles. Sure, buddy. But remember, we need to save some money for groceries. The pang in her chest was familiar. She quickly masked it with a smile, ripping open a bag of apples. "Every time, Mom. You always say that." He giggled, chewing on the end of an apple slice. "Okay, let us make a deal. If we can keep saving, we can order pizza next week too." Jake nodded enthusiastically, already envisioning the weekend. He was, after all, a child with a big heart and an even bigger imagination. Later that afternoon, Sarah's phone buzzed to life, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a text from Tom. "Thinking of you and Jake. Want to meet up again?" She hesitated, heart fluttering with mixed feelings. Part of her was excited at the prospect. She wanted to know more about his world, to understand that comfort he offered so effortlessly. But another part quaked at the possibilities of accepting too much. Was this more than a meeting? What would her heart allow? She took a deep breath and started typing. "How about coffee tomorrow?" That night, amid the lingering aroma of a simple dinner, she couldn't shake the butterflies dancing in her stomach. What was she doing? Was she ready to step beyond her modest life into a space filled with wealth and expectations? The next day, Sarah found herself seated across from Tom in a cozy cafe. The atmosphere was warm, filled with the comforting hum of conversations and the click-clack of laptops. There was a time when she might have taken solace in this buzz, but today it was just a backdrop to her anxiety. "Hi, good to see you," Tom smiled, easy and confident as he leaned back in his chair. "Thanks for inviting me." She took a sip of her coffee, the heat grounding her for a moment. Tom wasted no time. "I wanted to talk about Jake's future. I really believe in helping him. It's not just about the scholarship, it's about supporting you both as you navigate this." His words sank in like stones, stirring those familiar fears. "What do you mean?" she asked, almost defensively. "I see potential in him. I see it in you too, Sarah. I want to offer mentorship, maybe even internships once Jake gets older. This could change things for both of you." Her heart raced. "This all sounds generous, but do you expect something in return? Your world is so far from mine." Tom's gaze was steady. "I just want to help because I believe it's the right thing to do. No strings attached." "Every choice comes with strings," she murmured, feeling that familiar knot in her stomach tighten. "Not this one." His voice softened, inviting her to consider the possibilities. "You're a strong person, but even strong people need support sometimes." Sarah's mind spun. Here was Tom, extending an olive branch, yet how could she grasp it without losing herself? It felt like standing at the edge of a vast ocean, staring into depths that promised both wonder and dread. As their conversation continued, Sarah glanced down and caught him watching her with intent curiosity. It made her heart flutter. But uncertainty nagged at her, reminding her of the harsh reality outside this cafe. "Why me?" she finally asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Because you're worth it," he answered, sincerity pouring from every word. Those three simple words hit her like a wave that knocked the wind from her lungs. Worth it. She'd spent so long trying to prove her worth as a mother and a person. Was she finally being seen? But before she could respond, her phone buzzed, pulling her back to reality. It was a news alert. Billionaire Tom Adams' new project aims to support local youth. She had to draw a line somewhere. Just how easily could she step into his world without losing her own? Feeling overwhelmed, she looked deep into Tom's eyes. The moment felt electric, as if the air crackled between them, charged with possibility. And as much as she wanted to leap, she knew she had to tread carefully. Because every leap required faith. Could she trust him? She was on the brink of a decision that might change everything. Jake was sprawled on the living room floor, turning the pieces of his latest Lego castle in his hands. The afternoon light filtered through the curtains, filling the room with a golden hue. Sarah leaned against the wall, watching him with a protective smile. But her thoughts remained tangled around Tom's proposition. Could she truly allow someone like him into her life? The notion felt like standing on shaky ground. "Mom, look!" Jake's voice broke through her reverie as he held up a proud structure, equal parts excitement and triumph shining in his eyes. It was his knight's fortress, complete with flags made from colorful paper. "That's amazing, sweetheart. You really built that? It's incredible." Jake beamed at her praise. "I want you to see it in real life one day like the castles we visit." "Absolutely, I can't wait," she replied, her heart swelling. Moments like these reminded her why every sacrifice mattered. Suddenly, in the midst of their easy banter, her phone chirped again. This time it was a call from an unknown number. Hesitantly, she answered. "Is this Sarah?" The voice was deep, unfamiliar. "Yes, this is she." "Hi, this is Laura from the community center. We have a last-minute opening for a part-time job. It's not much, but it could help with bills. Interested?" Sarah's heart raced. She had been searching endlessly for anything she couldn't bear to say no. But would she have enough time to juggle everything, especially with Tom's new offer looming in her mind? "What are the hours?" she asked, her pulse quickening. "Just a few afternoons a week, helping with youth activities and events." "Sounds good," she said slowly, her mind whirling with possibilities. "Great. Can you start this Friday?" "Sure, I can manage that." As she hung up, Sarah felt an electric buzz of hope and responsibility. But suddenly, the thrill was overshadowed by an unsettling thought. What would Jake think about her working again? Would it take away from his time? "Are you okay, Mom?" Jake's small voice interrupted her anxious thoughts. He had shifted to sit beside her, a look of concern lining his young face. "Just a bit tired, honey. A lot on my mind." He leaned his head against her shoulder, as if to shield her from the weight of her worries. She inhaled his sweet, familiar scent, grounding herself in the moment. "Can we still have pizza?" he asked, raising his eyes expectantly, as if sensing her need for a distraction. "Of course, we can. Pizza and a movie, just like we planned." The sound of excitement bubbled from him as Jake hopped up, grabbing the remote and searching for a family film. As she watched him, a tumult of emotions crashed over her. The thought of pizza was comforting. Yet, the juxtaposition of her enthusiasm for family time and the daunting prospect of change loomed over her. Just then, the doorbell rang, cutting through the air. Sarah felt a jolt of anxiety. Who could it be? "I'll get it," Jake shouted, sprinting to the door. As she watched him, she felt a tightening in her chest. What if it was Tom, wanting to talk again? What if it was news that would redirect their lives entirely? The door creaked open, and Sarah stood up, heart hammering as she approached from behind Jake. When she peeked over his shoulder, her breath caught in her throat. Tom stood there, casual but captivating, something about his presence shifting the air in the small hallway. "Hey, Sarah," he said, then glanced down at Jake with an inviting smile. "How's it going, buddy?" Jake waved enthusiastically, oblivious to the intensity bubbling between the adults. Sarah felt the weight of 1,000 thoughts and the uncertainty tightening her chest. "Hi, Tom." She hoped her voice didn't betray her inner turmoil. "What brings you here?" Tom looked at her intently, the world outside faded. "I wanted to talk more about whatever you're thinking. I promised no strings attached, but I can't help feeling you both deserve a chance to be seen." As those words sank in, Sarah had never felt more torn. Trust was one thing, but stepping into his world could mean leaving so much behind. "Mom?" Jake's small voice brought her back. He was pointing at Tom, eyes filled with curiosity. "Can he stay for pizza?" Standing at the threshold between safety and risk, Sarah felt one thing clearly: she was at yet another crossroad. Would she let Tom into their lives like Jake wanted, or keep the walls she'd spent so long building tightly fortified? The decision loomed, and her heart raced as she looked between them. As she stood there, torn between two worlds, one thing was certain: change was in the air, and it had the potential to reshape everything. Sarah's mind whirled as she hovered in the doorway, torn between the comfort of her routine and the shadow of possibility Tom cast. Jake's innocent eagerness only made the pressure building inside her more palpable. Could she really allow Tom into their lives? "Mom, please." Jake bounced on his feet, excitement radiating from him. "I want him to stay." The pleading look in her son's eyes pulled at her heart. She could practically hear the wheels turning in his mind, imagining their larger family adventures, outings, a world filled with more laughter than just the two of them shared. Yeah, okay," she finally said, swallowing her uncertainty. "You can stay for pizza, Tom." "Awesome." Jake beamed, racing back into the living room. Sarah felt a rush of warm gratitude toward her son's innocence, the weight of her choice sitting heavily on her chest. Tom followed Jake inside, the air shifting with every step he took. His presence was magnetic, a force she didn't know how to resist. As Jake scrambled to find the right movie, Sarah busied herself in the kitchen, trying to shake off the nervous energy. She opened the fridge, grabbing drinks, though what she really wanted was to catch her breath. "Can I help?" Tom's voice broke through her thoughts. Sure. You can set the table," she replied, surprised at how easily he fell into the rhythm of their little home. He walked over, his casual demeanor easing the tension in the air. There was something disarming about him. Maybe it was the way he smiled at Jake, or the genuine interest he showed in setting down the plates just the way Sarah liked them. Watching them, she felt her heart softening just a little. "Do you like pizza, Tom?" Jake asked, bouncing in his seat as he faced his new guest. "Who doesn't?" Tom chuckled. "But tell me, what's your favorite topping?" "Pepperoni. It's the best," Jake declared, fueled by youthful conviction. "Then that's exactly what we'll have," Tom nodded with a wide smile, and Sarah couldn't help but grin. As they settled on the couch to watch the movie, she found herself sitting beside Tom. Her heart raced. The familiar comfort of Jake's presence, combined with the new energy Tom brought, sent a thrill through her. But her mind flickered back to the uncertainty that had brought him to her door. After a few moments of light banter during the movie, Sarah felt a shift in Tom's gaze. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure," she said, her heart thudding in her chest. "Why are you so hesitant about this?" he asked, his tone gentle yet probing. She hesitated, words struggling to form. I need to protect Jake. Change is hard, and he's been through a lot." Tom's expression softened. "I understand. But sometimes change can be good. It might surprise you." Was he hinting at his own life, the life he had outside of this moment, a life that seemed worlds away from hers? "I appreciate that, Tom," but she stared at the flickering screen, truth bubbling up. "It's not just about me. I have to think about Jake first." "Absolutely," he replied, his voice empathetic. "I'd never want to complicate things for you too." But just as relief washed over her, Jake piped up, "Mom, can we go to the lake this weekend? I want to show Tom all the cool places." "Whoa, slow down there, buddy." Sarah chuckled but felt the strain in her stomach tighten again. Tom looked at her, a glimmer of hope in his eyes. "I'd love that. Family outings can be really great." Family. That word hung heavy in the air like an uninvited guest. Could they truly blend their lives together without it uprooting everything? Sarah felt the pounding of her heart in her ears, realization dawning. This was the crossroads she had feared. This was what Tom meant by being seen. "Let me think about it," she said softly, uncertain of what she truly wanted. Jake nodded eagerly, but Sarah watched Tom closely, reading the flicker of disappointment that crossed his face. "Of course," he replied, though his smile didn't quite reach his eyes. As they wrapped up their evening, Sarah felt the weight of expectations tied to past choices, her heart at the breaking point as hope and fear collided within her. Was she ready to let someone in, or would she turn away and keep the walls she'd built intact? As Jake yawned, resting his head against her shoulder, she closed her eyes, wishing for clarity in the chaos she could feel closing in. Because with each passing moment, it felt like the next decision could change everything. And then there was the thought that lingered, dancing at the edge of her consciousness: what if opening that door to Tom led to something she never expected? The next morning sunlight filtered through the curtains, casting a warm glow over the kitchen. Sarah stirred her coffee, the scent filling the air. She felt both grateful for the quiet and tied to her swirling thoughts about Tom. Jake was already buzzing with energy, a whirlwind of anticipation for the weekend. "Mom, can we do pancakes?" He shot out of his room, face scrunched in excitement. "Sure thing, buddy," she replied, forcing a smile as she whisked the batter. She knew how much Jake adored pancake mornings, especially when they could add chocolate chips or sprinkles. "Can I help?" Jake asked, eyes wide. "Of course. How about you pour in the chocolate chips?" She handed him the bag, thinking how his enthusiasm could brighten even the cloudiest thoughts. As they cooked, laughter filled the kitchen, a mix of pancake sizzling and Jake's chatter about what he'd show Tom. The happiness hovered like steam rising from the skillet. Yet, beneath that, she felt a pit of worry settling in her stomach. The thought of Tom lingering in her mind was distracting, the uncertainty about the weekend gnawing at her. "Mom, do you think Tom will like our pancakes?" Jake asked, bringing her focus back to him. "I think he will," she said, pushing her anxieties aside. "But what if he didn't?" The question gnawed at her even as she flipped pancakes. She had already imagined all the ways this weekend could go wrong. The edges of her mind filled with what-ifs, possibilities dangling dangerously close to fear. Then her phone buzzed on the counter, cutting through the tension. It was a text from Tom. "Good morning. Hope the pancakes are coming along well. Just wanted to let you know I'll be there around noon. Can't wait." Sarah's heart skipped at the sight of his name. A flutter of anticipation and anxiety knotted in her stomach. "Mom?" Jake called, interrupting her thoughts. "When's Tom coming over?" "Soon. Just finish up those pancakes," Sarah replied, her voice wavering slightly. The hours dragged. Jake was almost vibrating with excitement, recounting every detail he could think of that he wanted to share with Tom. After their impromptu cooking lesson, the house echoed with laughter, hearts winding tighter. As noon approached, a feeling of unease settled in the pit of her stomach. When the doorbell rang, Sarah's heart raced. "That's him!" Jake shouted, darting to the door. "Okay, hold on, let me get it," she called back as she wiped her hands on a towel. Taking a deep breath, she opened the door, and there stood Tom, brown hair slightly tousled, a genuine smile lighting his features. "Hey, Sarah. I hope I'm not too early," he greeted, his eyes scanning the room before landing on her. Heart pounding, she waved him in. "Not at all. We just made pancakes." "Pancakes? I think I just walked into pancake heaven." Jake jumped in, his enthusiasm bubbling over. Tom laughed, kneeling down to Jake's height. "Then you picked a perfect time to invite me over. I'm hungry." Sarah watched the exchange, her heart softening a touch. Tom had a way of making Jake feel at ease, like they had known each other forever. As they settled at the table, laughter flowed, pancakes quickly disappearing. Jake animatedly shared stories about school, each word wrapping around Sarah's heart, making her feel lighter. For the first time in a long while, laughter felt like home. But still, that nagging uncertainty remained, looming just beyond the laughter. Sarah, can I talk to you for a second? Tom's voice cut through the cheerful chatter after their plates were clear. He glanced at Jake, who was engrossed in animated talk about dinosaurs. Sure. Sarah's heart clenched at the look in his eyes. What could he want to say now? They stepped into the living room, the air thick with unspoken words. I wanted to address what you said the other night. Tom hesitated, searching her eyes for understanding. I want to respect your concerns about Jake, but I genuinely believe we could create something amazing together. For all of us. His words spiraled around her. But before she could respond, Jake came bounding in. Face lit up. Can we go to the lake now? I want to show you the fishing spot. Sarah's breath caught in her throat. Looking between them, she felt the weight of the decision pressing down. Could she say yes and fully embrace what Tom was offering? Let me think about it, she managed to whisper, feeling the gravity of those simple words. Tom's smile faded just for a moment, worry creeping into his expression, but then he nodded. Of course. Just know I'm here, if you want to talk. As they headed out, the thought lingered in her mind, could she really open that door? And what would that mean for Jake? The lake glimmered under the midday sun, its surface reflecting a panorama of blue skies and fluffy white clouds. The air was thick with the scent of pine and freshly mowed grass. Jake led the way, practically bouncing on his feet, his excitement spilling over like the waves splashing against the shore. Come on, Tom. You're gonna love this. Jake shouted, his voice echoing as he dashed ahead. Tom and Sarah followed at a slower pace, the tension from their earlier conversation still hanging in the air. As they walked, Sarah felt every step as a tug-of-war between her heart and her head. Are you okay? Tom asked, glancing at her with genuine concern in his eyes. Just a lot on my mind, she confessed, taking a deep breath. I want Jake to have a great day, but there's a lot riding on this for you. He finished for her. Exactly. She stared at the shimmering water. Everything feels so uncertain. Life is uncertain, Tom replied softly, his voice steady. But fear doesn't have to control us. Think about it. Jake loves you, and I'm sure he'll love having me around too. But it's more than just that, Sarah managed, feeling a weight in her chest. It's about what it means for him letting someone in. Tom nodded, absorbing her words. I get it. It's huge. But isn't it worth exploring if it means more joy for both of you? Her heart softened at Tom's patience. They continued toward the lake where Jake was busy throwing rocks into the water, laughing as each splash disturbed the mirror-like surface. Look! I found a big one. Jake shouted, his joy infectious. Sarah smiled. Seeing him so carefree filled her with warmth and reminded her how vital it was for him to feel supported and loved. But could she really let Tom into that world? Jake ran back to them, looking expectantly at Tom. Can you show me how to fish? Like, real fishing. Of course. Tom grinned and crouched down beside Jake. Sarah's heart fluttered at the sight the way he engaged with Jake, the ease of their connection. It felt so natural, so right. As Tom took a few steps towards the lake, his demeanor changed. The playfulness faded into deep concentration as he demonstrated how to cast a line. Sarah watched as Tom patiently explained each step, his hands guiding Jake's smaller ones in a way that felt like building trust. The bond was unfolding before her eyes. Mom, look! Jake squealed as he cast his line into the water. I did it. I really did it. Way to go, champ. Sarah cheered, feeling a swell of pride for her son. But then, a pang of that earlier uncertainty returned. Watching Tom pour effort into this moment made her second-guess herself again. What if she was wrong? What if, by letting him in, she risked ruining everything good they had? Tom turned to Sarah, catching her gaze. What do you think? Should we keep fishing or go for a swim? A light breeze ruffled the trees, and Sarah felt a moment of clarity wash over her. She wanted to share this experience, to savor the laughter and the innocent joy radiating from her son. Maybe this was the balance she had been searching for. Swimming sounds fun. She called out, deciding to cast her concerns aside for now. As they splashed into the water, laughter surrounded them. Jake dove under, emerging with a triumphant grin. Tom's infectious spirit played a real role in lifting her worries, if only for a moment. But as they floated, Sarah's mind couldn't escape the future. Would they stay like this forever? Or would the day come when those smiling faces turned serious, and she had to confront the real implications of letting Tom into their lives? Suddenly, Jake swam over to her, splashing the water with every move. "Mom, isn't this the best day ever?" Glancing at Tom, who was now fully immersed in Jake's joy, Sarah felt her heart swell once again. Yet, she couldn't shake off the question left unattended in her heart. What did it mean to let someone in, truly let them in? And as the sun began to set, painting the sky with hues of pink and orange, she realized that maybe, just maybe, she needed to find out before it was too late. The sun dipped lower, casting long golden rays across the lake, wrapping everything in a warm embrace. Sarah floated on her back, allowing the cool water to wash away her worries, if only for a moment. Jake's laughter resonated in her ears, a melody of pure joy and freedom. But deep within, the question nagged at her, the uncertainty of letting Tom into their lives. What would it mean for Jake? For her? Tom swam closer, breaking her reverie. "You're quiet," he said, his voice imbued with genuine curiosity. "Thinking about how much you love this moment?" "Something like that," she replied, forcing a smile. Yet, the happiness felt marred by the weight she carried. "It's just everything feels so new." Tom studied her, his brow furrowing slightly. "Change is often uncomfortable. But it can also lead to something wonderful, don't you think?" She wanted to believe that, to let go of her reservations, but the stakes felt high. Letting Tom in could shift the dynamics, upending their little world. Jake seemed to adore him, but could that love be enough? "I just want to make sure this is right," she confessed, letting the words tumble out. "For both of you. I don't want to disrupt what we have." Tom's expression softened, the corner of his mouth lifting into a warm smile. "Sarah, you're not just a mom, you're not just a single parent. You deserve happiness too. Maybe Jake will learn from seeing you embrace joy, even if it means taking risks." She searched his eyes, seeking understanding. In that moment, Tom reached out and gently squeezed her wrist, as if to reassure her. "Ever take a leap of faith?" he asked, his voice steady. "You mean like jumping off a diving board?" She replied, a hint of a smile breaking through. "Exactly. You stand up there, heart racing, nervous about the jump. But if you dive in, you find the water is just fine. Just give it a shot." Jake swam over, his green eyes sparkling with the same brightness as the sunlit water. "Are we going to jump or what?" "I can do it." The gleam in his eyes tugged at Sarah's heart. She watched him, feeling a swell of love and pride. Maybe this was the chance she needed, not just for herself or Tom, but for Jake as well. If life had taught her anything, it was that fear shouldn't dictate how they lived. Tom opened his arms. "Let us do it together. You and me. I'm here to catch you if you slip." Sarah's heart raced. The risk wasn't just about jumping into the water, but about allowing someone else into their lives. Yet, maybe it was time to step off the ledge. With a deep breath, she nodded, her determination setting in. "Okay, Jake. Let us do this." With little hesitation, they clambered onto the rickety old dock, the boards creaking beneath their weight. She felt a flicker of doubt but pushed it aside. It was only water, but the leap, well, that was something else entirely. On 3. 1, 2, 3. They jumped together, screams erupting in thrilling unison as they fell into the cool embrace of the lake below. Water enveloped her, and for a moment, time stood still. Everything was crisp and clear. When Sarah resurfaced, gasping, laughter erupted from her lips. It surged from a well of joy she didn't know she possessed. That was awesome. Jake shouted, splashing around them, joy radiating off him like sunlight. Can't believe we did it. Tom laughed, the carefree sound blending perfectly with her son's happiness. As they floated and played, the earlier tension momentarily forgotten, Sarah started to realize something profound. The act of letting go wasn't just for her, it was for Jake, too. She saw a future where joy wasn't laced with uncertainty. A possibility where trusting Tom could lead to new adventures together. But even as laughter filled the air, another thought trailed behind her joy. Could she actually take that leap with Tom, or would fear rear its ugly head again? As twilight set in and shadows danced upon the lake, the reality of what lay ahead hung heavily. Would this moment be just a reprieve, or the start of something bigger? And as Tom's eyes sparkled under the dimming light, she bravely pondered. What if they could be more than just a pleasant memory? What would letting him in really mean? As the last rays of sun dipped below the horizon, a gentle chill crept through the air. The laughter faded into a soft hum, leaving only the sound of splashing water. Sarah, still buoyed by the thrill of their leap, felt a stirring excitement inside her, mingling with a lingering wariness about what the future might hold. Jake was full of energy, darting through the water like a playful little dolphin. She watched him, her heart swelling with pride. He was so carefree, so full of life. The thought of him growing up, knowing that his mom could embrace happiness again, made her ache for something more. Could Tom really be the man to help her build that joyful future? Suddenly, a loud splash broke her reverie. Tom had dive-bombed into the water, sending waves cascading toward Sarah and Jake. With a giggle, she tried to dodge the incoming splash. In that moment, all of her worries felt distant, floating away like leaves carried by the current. Tom emerged, pushing his hair back and grinning like a child. "See Mon, Sarah. Don't just float there. Join us," he called, his voice inviting. Definitely charming, she thought, unable to suppress a smile. She took a deep breath and dove underneath the surface, swimming toward them. The water enveloped her, cool and refreshing, banishing the remnants of doubt that clung to her. Once she broke the surface, she found herself locked in a moment of pure connection. Tom and Jake were grinning back at her, eyes sparkling with joy. And for just a heartbeat, she felt there was a possibility, just a glimpse of a world they could create together, one filled with laughter, love, and trust. "Race you to the dock," Jake shouted, kicking away with determination. Tom was quick to follow, all hands and feet, splashing water everywhere. Sarah couldn't help but join in, the competition igniting a playful spirit within her. They all headed for the dock together, laughter dancing through the air. But as she swam, the nagging thought returned: was she ready to let Tom into their lives? The splash of their feet echoed as they reached the dock, and Sarah felt the weight of her heart. She watched Jake climb up, triumphant and full of glee. But would he still feel that way if things changed? Sitting at the edge of the dock, the sunset casting a golden glow, Sarah turned to Tom. "What do you want from this?" she asked, her voice serious but edged with curiosity. "What do you see for us?" Tom seemed taken aback, his expression softening. "I see a future filled with adventure, laughter, and love if you'll let me. I know it's asking a lot, but I care about both of you. I want to be part of your lives." Those words sent a ripple of warmth through her. It felt like the sun warming her skin, but it was also frightening. Could she really let someone so close again? Jake suddenly interrupted, drawing their attention back to him as he climbed onto the dock and prepared for the next jump. "Look, I'm gonna do it again, Mom. I can go higher this time." Fear mixed with exhilaration in her stomach. "Be careful, buddy," she called, though she couldn't help but smile at his enthusiasm. Tom chuckled, shaking his head. "He's got your spirit. You should be proud." "Yeah, I guess I am," she replied, letting the softness of the moment sink in. But as twilight crept closer, and stars began to twinkle overhead, the fear still flickered in her chest. All too soon they'd have to face the reality of life beyond the lake. Could she truly let Tom in? Their laughter mingled with the night air, but the shadow of her doubts loomed larger. Just as she prepared to say something more, a rustling sound came from the trees nearby. "What was that?" Jake asked, eyes wide, his excitement replaced with a hint of uncertainty. Before Sarah could respond, a figure emerged from the shadows, and her heart skipped a beat. Was this an unexpected twist in the evening, or just the beginning of another leap of faith? As the shadows shifted, Sarah's heart raced. The figure stepped closer, revealing itself in the dim light. To her shock, it was Laura from the community center. "Sarah! Thank goodness I found you," she exclaimed, breathless. "What's wrong?" Sarah asked, her instinct to protect Jake surging to the forefront. "I'm sorry to interrupt your day, but I had to let you know something important. We were discussing the program opportunities, and there's been a special grant for single parents that could really benefit you," Laura explained, her voice a mix of urgency and excitement. Jake watched with wide eyes, sensing the sudden shift in atmosphere. "What's a grant?" he asked, squinting at Laura. "It can help your mom with education resources, Jake," Tom chimed in, stepping forward protectively. "That could mean more support for both of you." Sarah felt her heartbeat quicken again, the promise of help mingled with a wave of realization. This had come at the right moment. She was at a crossroad, a chance to accept support without losing herself, and to provide Jake with the opportunities he deserved. "Like art classes? Or sports? Is it free?" Jake chirped enthusiastically, unable to contain his excitement. "There are many options," Laura replied, her gaze flickering between mother and son. "It's designed to empower families like yours. You'll have the chance to choose what fits best." Sarah looked at Tom, who wore an encouraging smile. His faith in her ability to make choices echoed in her mind. "Wow! That sounds awesome!" Jake cheered, his head filled with possibility. "Is this for you, too?" Sarah asked Laura, her voice steadying. "I've got a lot on my plate. I'm not sure if I can handle everything, especially with this new offer from Tom." "Think of it this way," Laura urged, stepping closer. "This grant can give you room to breathe, enabling you to integrate the support Tom wants to provide. You don't have to choose one path or the other, let them complement each other." The air around them felt electric as thoughts swirled. For so long, Sarah had held her guard high, fearing to lose her independence. Yet here, in this moment, everything felt different. Tom stepped closer, sincerity radiating from him. "You're not alone anymore, Sarah. Embracing help doesn't diminish your strength, it amplifies it. You can build a life together with everything you want for you and Jake." As her heart began to clear, Sarah took a deep breath, a mosaic of fears and hopes crashing together. She looked at Jake, joy lighting his face as he leaned into Tom's easy energy. "Okay," Sarah said finally, determination rising in her voice. "Let us do it. Let us explore the grant and see where that leads. Maybe it's time to let in a little change." "Yay!" Jake shouted, jumping up and down, utterly thrilled. Laura beamed, grabbing Sarah's hands. "You won't regret it. With your passion and Tom's resources, you're creating space for a brighter future." Tom's eyes glimmered with warmth. "And I'll be by your side every step of the way. For what it's worth, you both deserve happiness together." Sarah felt strength bubbling within her, washing away the worry that clung to her. If she took this chance, it could open doors she never imagined possible. As they made their way back to the dock, the sun was setting, the sky ablaze with vibrant colors. The air sang with laughter, each wave a reminder of new beginnings. Jake raced ahead, eager to jump back in the water. Sarah and Tom shared a knowing glance, the connection between them deepening, heightened by their mutual commitment to Jake's happiness. Stepping off the dock and into the cool water, Sarah felt alive with possibility. "I can't wait to see what comes next." She laughed, feeling liberated by her decision. And as her laughter mingled with Jake's joyful shouts and Tom's encouragement, she understood that sometimes, stepping into the unknown is where the greatest transformations begin. In that moment, surrounded by her budding family, she realized she wasn't just embracing change. She was grasping love, support, and a chance to build a life filled with promise. And it felt perfect. Now, if you felt that warmth in your heart as you read this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to not miss any future stories with this kind of heartwarming transformation. Leave a like now to keep the magic alive and feed the algorithm. We want to know your thoughts. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this amazing ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this uplifting journey. Let's spread this joy together.